Picture a world where a single man bends the shadows to his will, where over $1 billion flows like a secret river, hidden beneath layers of deception, danger, and ambition. What if I told you this isn't the fever dream of a Hollywood screenwriter, but a chilling reality that played out across 2 continents? Imagine a figure so mysterious, so untouchable, that his wealth eclipsed the wildest fantasies, built not on luck, but on audacity, ruthlessness, and a total disregard for the law. This shadowy mastermind commanded a sprawling empire, smuggling methamphetamine, one of the most lethal and addictive substances on Earth, across the border into the United States. His reach extended from clandestine labs deep in Mexico to the neon-lit streets of American cities, unleashing a tidal wave of drugs and raking in unimaginable riches. He danced circles around border patrols, slipped through the fingers of law enforcement, and built his kingdom on the misery of millions. The scale of his fortune defied belief. When authorities finally stormed his lair, they discovered a mansion bursting at the seams with cash. So much money it took convoys of armored trucks to haul it away. Picture rooms where the walls disappeared behind towers of banknotes, a treasure hoard so vast it seemed conjured from legend. But this wasn't a scene from a binge-worthy Netflix thriller. This was raw, unfiltered reality. Headlines screamed across newspapers and TV screens worldwide as the world watched in stunned disbelief. The secrets of his empire spilled into the open, exposing the sinister machinery of global drug trafficking. This is the saga of Zhenli Yegon, a man who began as a legitimate entrepreneur, but whose insatiable hunger for power and wealth transformed him into one of history's most infamous billionaire drug lords. He moved among the elite, cloaked in respectability, his true identity hidden behind a mask of luxury and influence. Born in the electric heart of Shanghai, Zhenli Yegon's odyssey carried him halfway across the globe to Mexico in the 1990s. He didn't arrive as a criminal genius. His first dream was simple: to build a fortune selling pharmaceuticals, real medicine, not poison. But somewhere along the twisting road, his ambition veered into darkness, setting the stage for one of the most jaw-dropping criminal tales the world has ever seen. By day, he was a legitimate importer, bringing in mountains of pseudoephedrine, the innocent ingredient found in cold medicine, and the sinister heart of methamphetamine. But behind closed doors, his shipments bypassed pharmacies and landed straight in the hands of the Sinaloa cartel, fueling an empire built on secrecy and danger. He wasn't your average street hustler. He was the mastermind in the boardroom, pulling invisible strings, moving fortunes across Asia, Mexico, and the United States. Shell companies were his camouflage. With a few keystrokes, he washed dirty money through offshore banks, erasing every trace. In the shadows, he amassed a fortune, over $1 billion, while the world remained oblivious. Beneath the glittering lights of Mexico City, a shadowy world thrived, hidden in plain sight, its secrets festering just below the surface. For years, whispers of unimaginable wealth and danger drifted through the city's elite circles. But in 2007, a single, electrifying moment shattered the silence. An event so explosive it would ripple across continents and shake the very foundations of power. Acting on a mysterious tip, a phalanx of heavily armed police stormed the gates of a palatial mansion nestled in one of the city's most exclusive enclaves. The raid was a blur of adrenaline and precision, officers sweeping through marble corridors, hearts pounding, every corner promising danger or revelation. What they found inside would freeze them in their tracks. Behind the mansion's gilded doors, investigators stumbled upon a secret so staggering, it would ignite a media firestorm and leave the world gasping in disbelief. Concealed behind a hidden door, a room overflowed with mountains of US dollars, 205 million, stacked from floor to ceiling. The air was thick with the scent of crisp bills, the sight so surreal it seemed conjured from a fever dream. It was a fortune fit for a king, or a criminal empire. News of the jaw-dropping discovery exploded across the globe. Headlines screamed of the largest drug cash seizure in history, a record-breaking haul that left even the most hardened investigators reeling. The world watched, transfixed, as the story unfolded. As authorities scrambled to unravel the origins of this staggering fortune, the mansion's elusive owner, Zhenli Yegon, vanished like a ghost. He slipped out of Mexico, boarding a flight to the United States, leaving behind a trail of chaos, suspicion, and unanswered questions. But the story was only beginning. Yegon's disappearance triggered a cascade of intrigue, plunging the case into deeper shadows. The hunt was on and the stakes had never been higher. When authorities finally cornered him, Yegon stunned the world with a bombshell claim. The mountain of cash, he insisted, was not his. Facing a wall of cameras and a sea of suspicion, he proclaimed his innocence, denying any ties to the drug underworld. Instead, Yegon pointed a trembling finger at the highest echelons of power, accusing corrupt officials within the Mexican government of forcing him to hide their illicit fortune. The case, already extraordinary, now threatened to expose a labyrinth of corruption and betrayal at the very heart of the nation. The world held its breath, waiting for the next twist in this real-life thriller. His words cut through the silence like a knife. If you don't do it, you'll be killed. This wasn't some whispered threat in a forgotten alleyway. No, it was delivered face to face, in a room where the air itself seemed to tremble with dread. In that instant, the line between predator and prey vanished, and the stakes soared to a deadly crescendo. This was more than a tale of crime. It was a desperate struggle for survival, a high-stakes game of power, and a glimpse into the unseen hands that twist fate behind locked doors. Imagine, a billionaire drug lord, claiming to be nothing more than a pawn in a sinister political chess match. It sounds like the fever dream of a screenwriter, but this was chilling reality. Zhenli Ye-gon, the architect of a criminal empire, insisted he was ensnared in a plot far bigger than himself. He painted a world where rivers of cash flowed unchecked, where politicians and kingpins toasted to secrets in gilded halls, and where loyalty was as fleeting as a shadow at midnight. His life was draped in luxury, but every corner of his mansion echoed with the footsteps of fear. The deeper they dug, the darker it became. Every clue was a trapdoor, every answer a riddle. Journalists and investigators found themselves ensnared in a labyrinth of lies, half-truths, and vanishing evidence. The official narrative twisted and warped, never quite fitting the facts. Was Ye-gon the puppet master, or just another marionette tangled in invisible strings? Was he orchestrating chaos, or simply trying to outrun it? And then, $205 million. Gone. Evaporated. Not a single bill left behind, no receipts, no witnesses, no trail. Vaults that once overflowed with illicit fortune, now stood hollow, silent as tombs. The missing millions became a symbol of everything rotten in the system: greed, secrecy, and the terrifying ease with which unimaginable wealth can simply vanish into the ether. No one could say where the money went. Theories multiplied, some whispered of offshore havens, others of clandestine deals sealed with blood and silence. But in the end, all that remained were empty evidence bags and a storm of unanswered questions. Authorities grasped at shadows, while the world watched, stunned, as the greatest cash seizure in history dissolved into myth. Zhenli Ye-gon was finally captured, his fall from opulence to captivity as swift as it was merciless. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment he was led away in chains, his fate now sealed by the very system he claimed had orchestrated his downfall. The world held its breath as the man at the heart of the storm was delivered to justice, or so it seemed. Now, he sits behind bars. The empire he forged has crumbled to dust, and the secrets he harbored may never see the light of day. Yet, even in his cell, his legend lingers, haunting those who tried to unravel it. Was he a criminal mastermind, or a casualty of a corrupt machine? The truth remains locked away just beyond our grasp. But his story reveals a chilling truth. Crime doesn't always wear a mask or brandish a weapon. Sometimes it hides behind silk ties and polished shoes, lurking in boardrooms and courtrooms where fortunes are traded with a handshake and a smile. The most dangerous criminals aren't always the ones lurking in the dark. Sometimes they're the ones you'd never suspect. Sometimes, evil wears a tie. In the end, the saga of Zhenli Ye-gon stands as a warning. Power and corruption can wear any face, and the truth is always more twisted and more terrifying than we dare to believe. In the shadows where fortunes are made and lost, this was the saga of Zhenli Ye-gon, a man who bent the rules of capitalism and danced with the cartels in a deadly waltz. Where money flows, secrets fester, and crime is never far behind. This is Crime and Capital. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe, because the next story might just be darker than the last.